Chapter 1. Your new single drops today at noon. Samantha's voice was bright with excitement as she patted my shoulder. Don't worry, she said confidently. With a song like this, there's no way you won't win Songwriter of the Year at the Golden Melody Awards. Her words should have felt reassuring, but instead, I was gasping for air, my chest tight, like I'd just woken from a nightmare. I glanced around. The familiar living room, the clock on the wall, and Samantha's confused expression as she looked back at me, it all felt too real. That's when it hit me. I was back. Back in the day, my new song was supposed to launch. You've been working so hard these past few nights, Samantha continued, her voice softening. No interviews or press today. Just take the day to rest, all right? She had already turned to leave when I called out, wait. She stopped in the doorway, looking back at me curiously. My eyes locked on the clock hanging on the wall. The second hand ticked forward, the minute hand creeping closer to 10. My hand shook as I unlocked my phone and opened Twitter. Freya's account popped up on my screen, just as I had remembered it. There it was, her post. A link to a music site accompanied by a short caption, my original single, Frozen Clock, is waiting for your ears. I clicked the link. The melody started playing, soft and haunting, the exact same song I had written. Every note, every lyric, it was mine. What the hell? Samantha's voice was sharp as she snatched the phone from my hand. She stared at the screen, her expression quickly shifting from confusion to outrage. This is your song. The melody, the lyrics, everything. How could Freya release it before you? She was already pacing, her anger building. It must have been someone at the studio. Someone leaked it. Don't worry, I'll get to the bottom of this. No, I said quickly, cutting her off. Cancel the release. She froze, turning to look at me like I had lost my mind. What are you talking about? Cancel it? Why would we? Just do it, I said firmly. Because I knew what would happen if I didn't. The last time, I hadn't realized what was going on. I released the song as planned, only to find out hours later that Freya's version had gone live first. The internet exploded. The accusations came fast and ruthless, plagiarist. Desperate to clear my name, I posted everything I could, drafts, timestamps, and even behind-the-scenes footage of the recording process. None of it mattered. Plagiarist? Just admit it already. Wow, fake drafts too? Must have taken forever to make it look real. Freya deserves justice. Sue her until she's bankrupt. The hate was relentless. Samantha and my producer both stepped forward to defend me, but that only made them targets, too. Their reputations took a hit just for speaking up. And then came the ultimate betrayal. My boyfriend, an award-winning actor, someone I had trusted with everything, went live on social media. He'd always insisted on keeping our relationship private, but suddenly, there he was, confessing his admiration for Freya. I stand with Freya, he said, his voice full of righteous anger. Plagiarism is unacceptable, and we need to hold people accountable. I couldn't believe it. He had heard the song before anyone else. He knew it was mine. But instead of defending me, he sided with Freya. Publicly. His fans, fueled by his words, came after me with a vengeance. They flooded my social media with threats and insults until I couldn't bear to look at them anymore. The fallout was swift. Artists I had worked with in the past scrambled to distance themselves from me, some even issuing public statements condemning my so-called behavior. Those who stayed silent weren't spared either. Fans attacked them until they joined the mob. The industry turned its back on me. I was blacklisted. My awards were revoked. Even the Songwriters Association erased my name from its records. My agency, desperate to save face, terminated my contract. And just when I thought things couldn't get worse, they did. Freya's success became my curse. Every time she released a new song, my name was dragged back into the spotlight as a cautionary tale of plagiarism. People sent funeral wreaths to my house, vandalized my family's home, and photoshopped my face onto death announcements. The harassment never stopped. Years of relentless bullying pushed me into a deep depression. My parents, desperate to clear my name, spent everything they had on legal battles and investigations. But instead of justice, they became targets, too. One night, Freya's fans went too far. They burned down my parents' house. My mom and dad didn't survive. The day Freya won the Golden Melody Award for Frozen Clock, I climbed to the top of a building and jumped. But instead of death, I woke up here. Back at the beginning. Fate had handed me a second chance. This time, I'm not letting history repeat itself. This time, I'm going to find out the truth. And this time, I'm going to make them pay. Chapter 2. The company has poured a fortune into this singles promotion. You can't just say cancel it and expect me to explain that to the higher-ups. Samantha's frustration was clear, but she took a deep breath, trying to hold back her temper. "All right, here's what we'll do," she said, her tone softer. "I'll start investigating the song leak, but in the meantime, you need to write another track to make up for it. And fast." Before I could respond, she was already heading for the door, leaving me alone in the silence of the living room. I sank into the couch, my thoughts swirling. Freya. She wasn't just some rival singer. She'd grown up with Oliver, my boyfriend. They'd been childhood friends, practically inseparable. After graduating from a prestigious music academy overseas, Freya returned to her hometown. Oliver, my boyfriend, the award-winning actor, had taken it upon himself to help her break into the entertainment industry. With his connections, she signed with Sunrise Entertainment, the biggest record label in the country. Her debut? Singing the theme song for an international blockbuster film. It was an opportunity one could only dream of, even as Oliver's official girlfriend. But Freya? She had it handed to her on a silver platter. And Oliver? His support for her was unwavering. Anytime I got upset, he'd dismiss my feelings, saying, "Freya's like family." My parents asked me to look out for her. What choice do I have? I let it slide. Every time. I didn't want to be the jealous girlfriend. But deep down, I knew. Freya wasn't just some little sister to him. She was his ideal, the one girl he'd wanted but could never have. And now, she'd stolen my song. I grabbed my phone, scrolling through Freya's Twitter feed, desperate to find some kind of clue, anything that could explain how this had happened. Then I saw it, a post from a month ago. The photo showed Freya sitting at a desk, a notebook in front of her, with the caption, "Inspiration Strikes." I zoomed in, my heart pounding. And there it was. The notes on her desk weren't just similar, they were identical. The same melody structure, the same lyrics. Even the lines I'd scrapped during my creative process were there, word for word. My hands trembled as I stared at the screen. This wasn't just plagiarism. She'd somehow copied my exact process. But how? The lyrics weren't generic. They were deeply personal, pulled from my own life experiences. There was no way she could have come up with the same thing on her own. Unless... No. That wasn't possible. Freya and Oliver were from the north. There was no way she could have experienced the same earthquake I'd survived years ago on that tiny southern island. But if that wasn't the explanation, and then how did she have my exact notes? I sat there, my mind racing in circles, trying to piece together something that made sense. Just then, my phone buzzed. Samantha was calling. "No luck," she said as soon as I picked up. "We couldn't find any leads on the leak. It's like the song just appeared out of nowhere." I hung up, frustration boiling in my chest. Samantha was right about one thing: the company had invested too much in this single to just walk away. It wasn't just trending on social media, it was plastered on LED screens in shopping malls across the country. Millions had already been spent on promotions. I didn't have a choice. If I wanted to save my career, I needed to write something new, and fast. I stormed into my small home studio, grabbed my old guitar, and sat down. My hands shook as I strummed the strings, anger and desperation fueling me. This time, it wasn't just about writing a song. This time, it was revenge. If Freya thought she could steal from me again, she had another thing coming. I poured everything into it, every ounce of frustration, betrayal, and grief that had built up over 2 lifetimes. 2 sleepless nights later, the song was finished. It was raw, it was angry, and it was nothing like anything I'd ever written before. Using an old backup phone, I recorded a rough demo and sent it to Samantha. She called me back almost instantly, her excitement spilling out in a flurry of emojis and voice messages. "Rock? Isabel, this is insane. You're a genius. How have you been hiding this side of you?" Before I could reply, another message came through. "I already booked the studio. I'll pick you up in an hour." By the time we left the studio, dawn was breaking, the sky was painted in soft shades of pink and gold. Samantha stretched her arms, exhaustion clear on her face. "All right, here's the plan," she said. "With Labor Day weekend coming up, the company wants to push the release to September 5th. It'll be better timing, less competition. What do you think?" I didn't answer right away. Instead, I asked, "What's Freya been up to lately?" Samantha blinked, caught off guard. "Not much, apparently. A friend of mine at Sunrise Entertainment said she hasn't been to the office in weeks. No one knows what she's working on." I frowned. Freya had just released a single, so she should have been busy promoting it. But instead, she'd gone completely silent. It didn't make sense. Something wasn't adding up. "All right," I finally said. "September 5th works. Let's wait and see what happens." That night, for the first time since I'd been reborn, I slept soundly. But my peace didn't last. The next morning, I woke to the sound of Samantha pounding on my door. "Isabel, open up. It's urgent." I stumbled out of bed, still groggy, and opened the door to see her pale and panicked. "Freya just dropped a new single," she said, her voice trembling. "And it's identical to the one you recorded last night." Chapter 3. Samantha's words hit me like a sledgehammer, knocking the wind out of me and dismantling every ounce of courage I'd built since my rebirth. Why? Why, after living through everything once already, couldn't I change a damn thing? Was this my future? Never making music again? Forever trapped in Freya's shadow? I had been so careful this time. I left my main phone outside on the balcony, avoided using my computer, and wrote everything by hand. Yet somehow, she still knew. How was Freya managing to steal my songs? On Twitter, her name was unavoidable. Freya had dropped 2 singles back to back, and for 3 days straight, they dominated the trending charts. Both songs had shot to the top of every major music platform. First and second place belonged to her. She was so popular right now that even the announcement of a megastar's secret wedding couldn't overshadow her. Under one of her new song links, a fan wrote, "Freya, your style has completely changed. What inspired you?" Her reply was sharp and cutting. "Someone tried to steal my work. Thankfully, I released my song ahead of schedule, or who knows what kind of lies they'd be spreading. This track is a warning to anyone who thinks they can piggyback off someone else's talent. Real creativity is what sets songwriters apart, and I'll always be miles ahead of the copycats." That one post was all it took to send social media into a frenzy. Some users, eager to piece together the drama, dug up my Twitter account. They found the teaser I'd posted weeks ago about my upcoming single and flooded me with comments. "So Freya was talking about you, huh? Where's your song? Weren't you supposed to release it already? Talented songwriter? Yeah, right. Bet your old albums were ghostwritten too." The kicker? I hadn't even released a single song this lifetime, yet Freya had already branded me a thief. But my fans weren't about to let it slide. They jumped in to defend me, going head-to-head with Freya's supporters in a full-blown comment war. The thing about Freya? She was still new to the industry. Most of her fans were casual listeners, not die-hard loyalists, unlike mine. And so, what started as an attempt to smear my name ended up backfiring. The backlash hurt Freya's reputation far more than mine. That's when Oliver, my ever-loyal boyfriend, decided to intervene. "Freya's celebration party is tomorrow," he said, his tone clipped and firm. "You're coming." I couldn't help but laugh. "Why on earth would I do that?" "Why?" he snapped, his voice rising in anger. "Because your fans have been harassing her nonstop. She hasn't been able to eat or sleep for days, because of you. And if you still want to call yourself my girlfriend, you'll show up tomorrow." No arguments. Freya had stolen my song, and now I was supposed to show up and celebrate her success. The thought made my stomach churn, but I swallowed my pride. If I wanted answers, if I wanted to uncover the truth, I had to play along. When I arrived at the party, the room was packed. Freya was glued to Oliver's side, her hand resting delicately on his arm as they floated through the crowd. "Freya's 2 singles broke every record on KK Music," someone exclaimed. "She's been at the top of the charts for a week." "She's amazing," another chimed in. "Her ballads make you cry, and now she's proven she can do rock too. A true creative genius." From across the room, one of her staff members looked me up and down, and then muttered loud enough for everyone to hear. "Not like some people, pretending to be creative while stealing from others." I kept my composure, smiled faintly, and walked straight up to Freya. "You're right, true talent like yours is rare. By the way, I've been meaning to ask. For your first single, why did you decide to use a minor key?" The question hung in the air. Freya froze for a split second, her eyes flicking to Oliver's. "Enough, Isabel," Oliver barked, stepping forward. "Freya invited you here out of kindness. Stop trying to make trouble." His fierce defense of her hit me like a slap in the face. And in that moment, I understood. He knew. He knew everything. But I wasn't going to let this slide. "What's wrong, Freya? Isn't creativity supposed to come naturally to a genius? Surely you can explain your own choices." Freya straightened up, pushing Oliver aside. "There's nothing to explain," she said coolly. "Major keys are bright and cheerful. Minor keys are emotional and introspective. Frozen Clock isn't a happy song. If you slow it down to 0.75x speed, you'll hear that it was always meant to be in a minor key. It fits the song's essence perfectly." My heart stopped. How did she know that? The 0.75x playback wasn't just a random observation. It was an Easter egg I'd hidden in the song, a deliberate detail for fans to discover later. There was no way she could have figured that out on her own. Panic clawed at my chest, but I forced a smile. "Thanks for explaining. If you'll excuse me, I need to head out." I barely made it out of the room before Oliver caught up to me in the hallway. "What the hell was that?" he demanded. "Why do you always have to make Freya look bad in front of everyone?" I turned to face him, my patience completely gone. "We're done," I said flatly. "What?" His expression faltered, his voice dropping in disbelief. "I'm breaking up with you," I repeated. "I'm leaving the industry, going back home. I hope you and Freya live happily ever after." "You're being ridiculous," he snapped. "What are you going to do back home? Work construction with your dad? Spend the rest of your life hauling bricks? And your dad can pay your termination fee?" His words were sharp and mocking, but they didn't hurt. I smiled faintly. "Don't worry about me, Oliver. I'll be just fine." With that, I walked away without looking back. What Oliver didn't know was that my father wasn't just some small-town contractor. Years ago, he'd been a construction worker, sure. But he'd seized the right opportunities at the right time. Now, he is one of the biggest real estate developers in the country. That sky-high termination fee for my contract? It was nothing to him. If I walked away from music today, I still had a family empire waiting for me. But more than anything, I wanted to see how long Freya could keep up her creative genius act without me. Let's see what happens when the real songwriter stops writing. Chapter 4. As soon as I got home, I went straight to Samantha. The moment she heard I was planning to leave the industry, she was pacing the room like a headless chicken. Isabel, are you serious? The company's not going to just let you walk away. You still have 3 years left on your contract. Have you really thought this through? I didn't say anything, I just nodded. She stopped pacing, her shoulders slumping as she let out a long sigh. Fine. If you've made up your mind, I won't try to stop you. The sky's the limit, right? I just hope someday we'll get the chance to work together again. She extended her hand, and I took it. For the first time in what felt like forever, I smiled, a real, genuine smile. A few days later, the company posted an official statement on Twitter announcing the termination of my contract. I followed up with my own post, confirming I was stepping away from the industry for good. Predictably, the trolls had a field day. See? Freya was right all along. If she wasn't guilty, why would she quit? She acted all smug at the celebration party, and now she's running away. What a joke. This is what happens when you try to go up against someone better than you. Freya crushed her, plain and simple. At least she knows when to bow out. Better to leave now than to get dragged out later. I didn't care anymore. Let them talk. Let them speculate. None of it mattered now. I packed my bags, ready to head to the airport for my flight home. Just as I was about to leave, Samantha sent me a video. In the video, Freya was sitting in front of a crowd of reporters, participating in some live event. She was playing the part of the innocent victim to perfection, her voice trembling just enough to sound heartfelt. This has all been a terrible misunderstanding, she said, blinking back tears. When I mentioned someone plagiarizing, I wasn't talking about Isabel. She paused, dabbing her eyes delicately with a tissue. The camera zoomed in on her tear-streaked face. Isabel is an incredibly talented artist, someone the music industry desperately needs. I can only hope she'll come back someday. Then, as if on cue, she stood up and gave a deep, dramatic bow to the cameras. Her voice cracked as she continued, Isabel, if I've ever done anything wrong, I sincerely apologize. Please don't hold it against me. You're my senior, someone I deeply respect. If you're leaving the industry because of me, I'll never be able to forgive myself. It would make me the villain of the music world. She was crying so hard now that even the reporters looked uncomfortable. Some of them were shaking their heads, murmuring words of sympathy. I stared at the video, completely speechless. What was she doing? Freya had just cleared the field. With me out of the picture, she had no competition. So why go to such lengths to play the victim? I couldn't figure it out, and honestly, I didn't care enough to try. Closing the video, I rolled down the car window and let the crisp autumn breeze sweep over me. 5 hours, just one flight, and this chapter of my life would finally be behind me. The plane landed smoothly, and as I walked out of the terminal, there it was, my dad's Rolls-Royce parked right by the curb. He stepped out as soon as he saw me, a giant bouquet of flowers in his hands. Welcome home, Isabel. Before I could respond, my mom rushed forward and wrapped me in a huge hug. The warmth of their embrace hit me like a tidal wave. All the bitterness, all the frustration from these past few years, it all came crashing down at once. I broke. Burying my face on my mom's shoulder, I started to cry. Not the quiet, dignified kind of crying, but the messy, uncontrollable sobbing that leaves you gasping for air. Isabel, my mom scolded gently, though her voice was full of concern. What are you crying for? Today's a happy day. Our family's back together. She fussed over me, wiping my tears with a tissue while muttering under her breath. See? I told you that industry was full of snakes. Let's not play their stupid games anymore. My daughter doesn't need to put up with that nonsense. Her words made me laugh through my tears. You don't even know what happened. How can you be so sure they wronged me? My dad chuckled, his voice warm and teasing. You'll tell us, and then we'll know, won't we? Back at home, after I'd eaten enough to fill a small army, my mom finally sat me down. Her voice was soft but serious. Isabel, sweetheart, can you tell us what really happened? I took a deep breath, steadying myself. Then, for the first time, I told them everything, not just about Freya, but about both of my lives. By the time I was done, my mom was holding me so tightly I could barely breathe, tears streaming down her face. Oh, my sweet girl, she whispered, her voice breaking. You've been through so much. You didn't deserve any of it. My dad, on the other hand, didn't say a word. His expression grew darker with every detail I shared. Finally, with a sharp flick, he stubbed out his cigarette and stood up. Those bastards think they can mess with my daughter, he growled, his voice low and dangerous. I've been playing this game longer than they've been alive. Let's see how they handle it when the tables are turned. Then he turned back to me, his expression softening. Isabel, your mom's been nagging me for years to take her on a trip around the world. I think it's time I finally listened to her. For the next few months, you're in charge of keeping an eye on her while I take care of this. He gave me a wink, his confidence unshakable. Leave the rest to me. Chapter 5. 3 days later, my mom and I embarked on our journey. We visited Egypt to see the pyramids and the Sphinx, then went to Morocco to see the white city of Casablanca. In winter, we went to Northern Europe to chase the aurora. Under the starry sky, with blue and pink lights swirling, inspiration struck me, but I dared not create again. My mom noticed my mood and patted my shoulder. Life isn't just about that one thing in front of you. Sometimes, you need to look back. Remember, your dad and I are always your strongest support. After 4 months of travel, I adjusted my mindset and joined my dad's company. I was busy, but my dad was always cheerful. One night, while attending a supplier's banquet with my dad, Oliver called me. Isabel, stop this nonsense and come back. If you push me, I'll have the industry blacklist you, and you'll never return. Oliver seemed calm, but he valued money deeply. He thought I, a construction worker's daughter, wouldn't give up the glamorous life of the entertainment industry. When I didn't respond, his tone softened. Freya has already apologized. You should be over it by now. Come back, Isabel. Sweetheart, don't you love playing the piano for me? Have you written any new songs? Play them for me. Oliver's changeable attitude confirmed he and Freya were in cahoots. I angrily blocked him. Away from the chaotic entertainment industry, life returned to normal. Just when I thought it would stay that way, Samantha showed up. You're living the good life now, huh? A big boss. If I knew you were an heiress, I wouldn't have helped you negotiate with the company, saving you so much in breach fees. I don't care. You owe me dinner, drinks, and a massage today. I gladly agreed, and Samantha sat in my boss chair, spinning around. Freya stopped all activities recently. What's wrong with her? Same old story, busy schedule, and her body couldn't handle it. How could that be? She was always healthy, able to stay up all night gaming with Oliver and still go shopping the next day. Has she released any new songs? Just those two. She said she'd release an original album soon, but there's no news. Remember that songwriting show we fought for? Freya recorded the first episode's opening but quit after you left the industry. Samantha's words made me suspicious. No album, no songwriting show. Is it because of me? If I don't write songs, she can't either? Isabel, have you considered working behind the scenes? Behind the scenes? Everyone knows your talent. Many artists regret your departure. Samantha's words made me wary. Working behind the scenes means writing songs again. My intuition told me something was wrong. Samantha knew my temperament well. Once I decided, I wouldn't regret it. She flew 5 hours just to persuade me to return. Could someone be pressuring her? Chapter 6. Samantha, you saw how busy I am. My dad wants to retire, and I'm exhausted. I can't write songs now. Samantha looked worried, and I cautiously probed, Samantha, be honest. Are you here on a mission? She glanced at the busy employees outside and sighed, all right, I'll be straight with you. Superstar Chris's contract with his old agency is ending. He said he'll only sing your songs. Whoever gets your original work will sign him. Such a big opportunity, the higher-ups couldn't resist and sent me to persuade you. Samantha's words clarified my scattered thoughts. Chris and Oliver were sworn brothers. He always thought I didn't deserve Oliver. Why would he ask for my songs? There's definitely something fishy. Isabel, maybe you could write a song casually so I can report back. I pondered for a long time and finally agreed. Since I had work the next day, Samantha flew back that night. I canceled my plans and locked myself in the music room. As soon as I cleared my mind, inspiration flowed. In just 4 hours, I completed the lyrics and melody. I sent the demo to Samantha's email and went to sleep peacefully. Because I had set a trap in the demo, the truth would come out tomorrow. When I woke up, I saw multiple missed calls and messages from Samantha. Isabel, Freya released your new song. How is this possible? I just handed the demo to the company, and Freya already recorded and released it. I opened Twitter and saw that Freya's new song was trending. After months of recuperation, I'm feeling much better. Sorry for making everyone worry. To show my gratitude, here's a song I wrote during this period. Freya's new song was exactly the one I wrote for Chris. Moreover, the climax of the song used the melody I had written on paper, not the demo I sent to Samantha. Chris, Oliver, and Freya were indeed in cahoots. They wanted to use the guise of requesting a song to make me continue creating. However, the main issue still lay with Freya. This time, I had written 2 versions of the song. The demo I sent to Samantha used a generic melody for the climax, while the version on paper was my preferred composition. Freya somehow knew my thoughts and chose the version from the paper, not the demo. This confirmed that after I quit, Freya couldn't write new songs. But I still didn't understand. She graduated from a prestigious music academy abroad. Even if she couldn't write, she could have asked me for songs. I could write, and she could sing, still earning her fame. Why insist on being a talented songwriter? I lay on my bed, staring blankly at the ceiling. My throat felt choked, and a sense of helplessness enveloped me. I knew the truth, but had no way to deal with Freya. Accusing her of using mind reading to plagiarize would make me sound insane. I might even be labeled a plagiarist again, just like in my previous life. Twitter was abuzz with discussions about Freya's new song. Freya, keep writing songs. I love listening to them. Freya truly deserves the title of a rising star in songwriting. Her new song made me cry. My beautiful and talented Freya, how can I not be a fan? They all underestimated you, but you proved them wrong. I'm so proud of you. Reading the comments, I buried my head in my pillow and cried. After this incident, Samantha didn't mention working behind the scenes again. I resigned myself to helping my dad manage the company. In the following months, Freya released 3 more songs, each topping the charts. Her songs were everywhere, from TV shows to short video platforms. Freya took this opportunity to announce her comeback. Oliver also publicly declared his love for Freya on Twitter. The actor and the songwriting queen, a perfect match. Support, support. Freya deserves it. Not just a talented couple, but a talented woman and a handsome man. Commercial district LED screens played Freya's music videos on loop. I pulled my coat tighter and walked past indifferently. When I opened the door, my mom was watching TV in the living room. It was the music competition show Freya had participated in. Seeing me, my mom quickly tried to turn it off. I knew she was worried about me and didn't want to upset me. But I was curious about Freya's performance, so I stopped her and sat down to watch together. This show was different from others, featuring live broadcasts to ensure authenticity. Soon, it was Freya's turn. After singing her new song, Freya walked to the front of the stage, waiting for the judges' comments. I love your original work. My whole family are fans. I give you an A. Another female judge picked up the microphone. Your lyrics are very talented, and the composition breaks the usual framework. I rated an A. Wait. The music professor frowned at the sheet music. The ending notes have a problem. The keyboard teacher played the notes as instructed, and the atmosphere exploded. The combination of notes sounded like I am a plagiarist. That was the first trap I had set in the song. Who would put such a thing in their song? Could it be plagiarized? I think Freya is a plagiarist, stealing someone else's work and using it directly. This looks like a safeguard the original writer put in, and Freya foolishly copied it. The judges' faces shifted as they re-evaluated Freya's song. What does I sing to the stars, hoping to rival the greats mean? Freya stood on stage, at a loss. She gave a random explanation, causing the audience to chuckle. She claims to be an original songwriter but doesn't even understand the meaning behind the lyrics she copied? Exactly. It's obvious she just lifted it without knowing what it meant. I smirked. Freya could read my thoughts, but couldn't understand the deeper meaning. Like knowing 1 + 1 is equal to 2, but not understanding what 2 signifies. Unsurprisingly, the remaining judges unanimously gave her failing grades. Freya was so shocked that she fainted on stage. My mom laughed heartily and hugged me. My daughter played this beautifully, better than your dad. Just as she mentioned my dad, he called. He said he had found some clues and asked us to join him in Eldoria in a few days. My mom couldn't wait and booked a red-eye flight. As soon as we arrived at the airport, Oliver called. Isabel, you did this on purpose. You knew all along. I feigned innocence. What are you talking about, Oliver? Be careful with your accusations. Without evidence, I might send you a lawyer's letter. Fine, fine, fine. Just you wait. Chapter 7. By the time we landed in Eldoria, my dad was already ahead of us. He'd done his homework and even sent someone to pick us up at the airport. As soon as we got into the car, he launched into his findings. Isabel, he began, his voice low but steady, this whole thing, it's not normal. Someone set you up. I've been asking around at every temple back home. No one's heard of any type of magic like this. He paused, his brow furrowed. But then I met a businessman. He told me about a man here in Eldoria, Mr. William. Apparently, he's the real deal when it comes to this kind of thing. My dad's tone softened for a moment as if to reassure me. We'll meet him tomorrow and figure it out. Don't worry. I nodded, leaning back in the seat. There wasn't much else to say. Whatever the truth was, we'd find it soon enough. By the time we got to the hotel, dawn wasn't far off. I couldn't sleep, so I grabbed my phone and started scrolling through short videos, trying to distract myself. That's when I stumbled across a new video from one of my favorite music bloggers. I clicked on it without thinking, but the moment the video started, I froze. The title? Exposing Freya, the truth behind the genius persona. The blogger's voice was sharp, biting, and full of conviction. Freya, the so-called prodigy? Turns out her story doesn't add up. She didn't attend a famous music conservatory overseas. Nope. She went to some no-name, pay-to-play university. Anyone with a checkbook could get in. The blogger leaned closer to the camera like he was letting the audience in on a secret. I did some digging on her old social media accounts. Not a single post about music. Not one. Instead, all her friends were spoiled rich kids showing off their vacations and expensive shopping sprees. And those 3 songs she claims she wrote herself? Yeah, I'd bet money they're plagiarized. The video ended with a mic drop moment. Freya's nothing but a fraud wrapped in pretty packaging. Don't let her fool you. Within minutes, the comment section was exploding. I knew it. She's no genius. I've been saying this for years. I went to high school with her. She didn't even pass the university entrance exams, let alone study music theory. Her entire image is fake. Those original songs? I bet she copied them from someone else. No wonder she was so quick to accuse others of plagiarism. I was so caught up in the video, and the avalanche of comments, that I completely lost track of time. It wasn't until someone knocked on the door that I realized the sun was already up. When I opened the door, my dad was standing there, accompanied by a man dressed entirely in white. His face was covered in intricate tattoos, and his eyes swept over me like he was trying to see straight into my soul. After a moment, his gaze locked onto my right hand. More specifically, the ring on my finger. "Miss Isabel," he asked politely, "could you tell us where that ring came from?" "It was a gift," I replied, glancing down at the ring. "From my boyfriend." "Why?" The man in white didn't respond. Instead, he pulled out a necklace with a gemstone dangling from it. Slowly, he began circling it above my ring. At first, the gemstone on the necklace was a deep red. But as he continued, it darkened, shifting to an ominous black. My dad's face hardened instantly. "There's something wrong with it, isn't there?" he demanded. "Mr. William, whatever it is, just fix it. I don't care what it costs." The man in white whispered something to his assistant, who hesitated for just a moment before speaking. "The ring," he began carefully, "is made from a bone fragment, something called a relic." My stomach dropped. The assistant continued, his voice grave. "This ring is only part of it, what we call a fragment. The main piece is somewhere else. Because this fragment has been with Miss Isabel constantly, it's been absorbing her thoughts, her emotions, her desires. All of that information is being transmitted to the main body. And whoever controls the main piece knows everything about her." He took a deep breath before finishing. "Over time, the fragment will begin to take over. Miss Isabel's thoughts will fade, her willpower will disappear. She'll become nothing more than a puppet. And if it's not stopped, it could even cost her life." My mind reeled. The ring. It was the one Oliver had given me last Valentine's Day. He'd told me it was handmade, something he'd crafted himself so that I'd always have a part of him with me. He'd insisted I never take it off. And yet, now I realized, he never wore his own matching ring. He'd always had an excuse, an endorsement deal, a role in a film. But the truth was, his ring wasn't with him at all. It was with Freya. My mom, already in tears, dropped to her knees in front of Mr. William. "Please," she begged, her voice trembling. "Please save my daughter." I rushed forward, pulling her to her feet. "Mom, don't." Mr. William held out his hand, and I slipped the ring off my finger, handing it to him without hesitation. The assistant spoke again. "Mr. William will take this ring into seclusion for 2 weeks. During that time, he'll perform a ritual to free the spirit trapped inside. Miss Isabel, you must stay indoors during those 2 weeks. Recite this mantra 5 times a day. As long as you follow these instructions, you'll be fine." My parents thanked him repeatedly, their gratitude spilling over in waves. Mr. William simply nodded, waved a hand dismissively, and walked out without another word. Back home, I followed his instructions to the letter. I didn't leave the house, and I made sure to recite the mantra exactly as I'd been told. On the 10th day, I was scrolling through my phone when I saw my name trending online. Someone had leaked a recording of me singing Frozen Clock. They were claiming it was proof I'd stolen the song. To make matters worse, Oliver had jumped in, posting on social media to back Freya, doubling down on the plagiarism accusations. But this time, the tide had turned. No one believed them. Why? Because my dad had stepped in, using the official account of the Bay Group. He released a statement that shattered their narrative. Isabel is the heiress of the Bellamy Group? The internet exploded. Wait, she's a billionaire's daughter? Why would she need to plagiarize anyone? She doesn't even need to work. She didn't even release the song officially. What's the big deal if she sings it privately? Freya's story is falling apart. Who do you think people will believe, a billionaire's daughter or some idol with a shady past? Oliver, clearly furious, started calling me nonstop. At first, he was screaming, cursing me out. Then he switched tactics, begging me to meet with him. I didn't even flinch. Blocked. For good this time. On the 14th day, I was sitting cross-legged in my room, dutifully reciting the mantra Mr. William had given me. Suddenly, a chilling, guttural scream shattered the stillness. It was a man's voice, raw and desperate, echoing from outside the house. I froze, my hands tightening around the mantra card. Curiosity tugged at me, and I couldn't help but walk over to the window. There he was. Oliver. He was sprawled on the ground, his face horrifyingly disfigured, oozing boils and swollen, pus-filled sores covered his features. His hands clawed at the dirt as he cried out my name, his voice trembling with pain. I felt a sharp pang of shock, but before I could think of what to do, my mom rushed to the front door and blocked it with her arms as if I might suddenly run out. "You've come this far, Isabel," she said, her voice firm but pleading. "Just one more day. Don't let this ruin everything." I couldn't help but laugh softly at the absurdity of it all. "Mom, trust me, I'm not going anywhere." Shaking my head, I turned away from the window and went back to my room. Sitting down on the edge of my bed, I took a deep breath and returned to reciting the mantra. That was the last time I ever saw Oliver. I later heard the full story. His face had been ruined beyond repair, forcing him to disappear from the entertainment industry entirely. It wasn't just the physical damage, it was the humiliation, the downfall. But what truly shocked me was the revelation that everything, Freya, the curse, had traced back to Oliver. Freya's jealousy of my creativity had made her an easy accomplice. Together, they had engineered the plan to drain me of my talent and destroy me from the inside out. But they hadn't anticipated the backlash. Finally, the 15th day arrived. I stepped outside for the first time in weeks, barefoot on the cool earth of our garden. The moment my feet touched the ground, I felt it, a rush of freedom, like a weight I hadn't even realized I was carrying had been lifted from my shoulders. The tension that had coiled in my chest for so long was gone. I felt light, like I could breathe again, like the air itself was cleaner. For the first time in what felt like forever, I felt whole. That's when my phone buzzed. It was Samantha. "Isabel," she exclaimed, her voice bursting with excitement. "Have you heard about Freya?" My heart skipped a beat. "No, what happened?" Samantha didn't even pause. "She's gone completely insane. A few days ago, she started attacking people, biting them, Isabel, like some kind of wild animal. And she keeps mumbling the same thing over and over, 'Don't come for me.' I'm sorry. I was wrong." My stomach churned as I listened. "But here's the weird part," Samantha continued, her voice dropping to a whisper. "Yesterday, she just stopped. No more screaming, no more biting. Nothing. Now she just sits there, staring into space like a doll. Completely blank. Do you think she's cursed?" I swallowed hard, trying to push away the unease creeping up my spine. I already knew what had happened. "She's not cursed," I said, keeping my voice calm. "But, let's just say she got what was coming to her." Samantha paused as if mulling over my words, before abruptly changing the subject. "Anyway, enough about that. Isabel, have you thought about coming back? To the industry, I mean." Her question caught me off guard. My fingers tightened around the phone as I hesitated. Before I could answer, I felt a presence behind me. Turning around, I saw my parents standing in the doorway, listening. "Go," my mom said, her voice soft but insistent. "Go back to your music, sweetheart." My dad grinned, crossing his arms. "Don't worry about us. I've got plenty of years left in me. You've got no excuse not to chase your dreams." Their words hit me like sunlight breaking through a storm. For months, I had been weighed down by fear, indecision, and everything I'd lost. But now, for the first time, I felt ready to move forward. A genuine smile spread across my face, as warm and bright as the first days of spring. A year later, I stood on a brightly lit stage, the weight of a trophy solid in my hands. And now, the announcer called, their voice ringing out across the packed auditorium, "Let's congratulate this year's best songwriter, Isabel Bay." The crowd erupted into applause as petals rained down from above, fluttering around me like tiny bursts of celebration. I looked out at the audience, their faces blurred by the bright stage lights. At that moment, it all felt surreal. Everything I thought I'd lost, my creativity, my passion, my confidence, had been returned to me.